Hello everybody and welcome to the recap for May 2026. For the longest time and finally a singular month. There's been a lot of things happening and finally I have graduated. So that's for the longest while. And it's been taking a lot of time, but finally I have time to fully send to making YouTube. Or rather, do other stuff. I also finally did kind of finish a lot of things, so we have a lot of games to talk about here. I was not able to get an artist to sign off on me talking about their art because time restrictions and people need money, so that is understandable because I cannot offer anything because hey, guess who else is broke? That's me. But yeah, I'll talk about all of my future plans and we'll talk quickly about the games as well. So, finally, return to form and talking about or rather inserting the game roulette clips to the latter half of the video. First, and very importantly, I do want to talk about the plans for future, which will be I'm gonna try to stream far more often for at least a couple of months. Maybe future, we'll see, because I do desperately want to get a job, and that unfortunately is practically impossible in this current economy. There's really no jobs available, huh? That sucks. I'm also trying to get get into school. That would be fantastic, but that's also well, we'll see about that. Regardless, for the purposes of this channel, this means I have far more time, which is good. I will be able to actually work on my videos for once. Doesn't mean I still have all that much time. Unfortunately, I am very much overbooking myself into everything, so that is a thing. But it's more time than previously. So I'm gonna be trying to get all of the videos I have been planning for a couple of years now. I will be trying to get those done, and I will also... Well, there's a lot of things to be done. Primarily one of them will be the Silksong stream highlights video, which I'm going to mostly highlight the boss battles. There's gonna be a little edits on there, but you'll see. You can still find the whole of Silksong in a playlist, so that should be something everybody can just go and watch that. Now, unfortunately, because it is the just VODs from YouTube, those do have certain limitations to them, which means I'm not gonna be editing those because I'm just gonna leave them there, so everybody can just unfortunately waste a lot of time because I did take breaks and there was a lot of runbacks there and a lot of failures, but it is what it is. But yes, I will be trying to stream far more often. I will be trying to get a lot more videos out. Does this mean I'm gonna be doing a long stream at some point, 24 hours or plus 10 hours or anything like that? Maybe, we'll see. Because my energy is still rather restricted because I'm gonna be doing a lot of... I need something to do. So, regardless, a lot has been done and a lot more will be done soon. First of all, I want to talk about Silksong, which was an experience. During the streams, I did go into a lot of details about it. But, to say it shortly, yes, absolutely the best game of last year. No doubt about it. For my personal favorite list, I enjoyed it more than Hollow Knight, because it has a different tempo to it. It's very interesting how it compares positively to Hollow Knight without being a strict upgrade. In most sense it is, but the tempo of the combat is very different and it feels very, very different from Hollow Knight without being technically breaking the genre at all. It has all of the basic elements, but they are different. It's very fantastic how it is so similar and so different at the same time. The music, of course. Oh my, Chris Lark, it's just I'm not gonna go too deep into music because that is something that would be so self-evident. The music is just always such a fantastic pleasure. It's just beautiful all across the board. It is absolutely fantastic. It is so magnificent, so beautiful, so good. It also in this game, compared to Hollow Knight, where it was of course still very fantastic. Like it's very difficult to say that it was upgraded or it became better, because Hollow Knight was fantastic. And still, the entrance to City of Tears is one of the most memorable, soul-wrenching, heart-jerking moments for me, and that is something that I don't think I'm ever going to live again, because it is something unique. But I feel in this game, due to the tempo of the combat, the music accentuates it somewhat better. But in the other sections it is very different. Now, there is a lot more variety, even though in the Hollow Knight, it was still very varied in many situations. I do feel like the grander scheme, the more vibrant and more varied environments of Silksong allowed for a lot more expression on the artist's part, for it to be well, a lot more imaginative and a lot more exploratory. Still, I do feel Christopher Larkin just played into their strengths very much, which, you should do. You should do what you know best, and while doing a lot of exploration, you still do need to emphasize your own advantages and what you know. Even though, you should be pushing limits, which I do feel in certain aspects. Now, the game still has a lot of subtle qualities that play into my own personal preferences of classical music and theater play fantastically. Now, of course, there are a couple of them which are so self-evident, which were so evident in the previous game as well, which were in Hollow Knight. That was, I'm quite specifically talking about the Hollow Knight, quite specifically. That is very much the thing, the vessel, and of course Hornet and naturally the Mantis Lords. Those tracks are very, very, very beautiful, and they are still something that in my mind resonate every day, basically. It's fantastic how they have stuck to the back of my mind like that. And in this game there are a lot of huge contenders for that, not the least of which are, of course, the Clockwork Dance. Yeah, I'm gonna be spoiling everything anyways. Clockwork Dancers, their music track is something that it is a beautiful ballet, and it is one of the epicenters of how rhythmic and supportive of the boss battles the music is. Then, of course, Phantom, which is Phantom of the Opera. It is such a beautiful homage without having any actual plagiarism or anything like that, where it is just playing an homage, taking inspiration, and being completely unique at the same time. And of course, there's a lot of different battles, like the Sinner, Lace. A lot of these battles are something where they are such beautiful set plays, and none of them are more exemplary than what we are all thinking about, and that is Trobio! That is very obvious. Trobio is just... I cannot emphasize my love for Trobio enough. Just so good. I'm not gonna go too much into detail. I think it's very obvious. As a theater kid, as an opera nerd, and as someone who is just adores the theater and the theatrics and the drama. Yeah, Trobio is just absolutely playing into my preferences in every singular way. Now, there is something to be said about a lot of different aspects of the game. For example, there is like 2 runbacks which I did not particularly enjoy, let's just say. At least 2. I can't remember any others. And I have heard a lot of people criticize the gauntlets, which I, personally, did not mind all that much. I very much enjoyed the battle gauntlets, but it is very understandable why that would be a divisive opinion, and why they are something that a lot of people do not enjoy. But preferences are preferences. I do not mind them, but people obviously can dislike them. That's just how humanity is. Everyone has their personal preferences. Otherwise, I very much enjoyed Hornet as the main character. She's just very expressive and unique. The previous game already gave her so much personality, and this just emphasized and extended and explored it a lot more in so many ways. And while I will always love the little ghost, I really enjoyed the dialogue and how Hornet just had so much personality. It is very, very fantastic, and it is something that I feel Team Cherry did absolutely just a banger job. So I'm very excited for the DLCs as well. Well, that's something that I'm gonna be really excited to play. And of course the story. So there's a lot. I haven't yet given enough time in my mind for the story to completely coalesce into a cohesive analysis or a deeper exploration of the themes. And while there are... I feel like the themes are very different, and while a lot of people have different interpretations, in my mind, because Hollow Knight was a huge exploration of the rejection of traditional values, of the dangers of cult mentality and the dangers of blind obedience and the just basically regicide and deicide. And this Silksong instead goes very, very deep in the themes of religiosity, of beliefs and belief structures, and how that is explored is something that I really did enjoy. Now, I am not a religious person, I am not a superstitious person or anything like that. That doesn't mean I cannot explore and enjoy these explorations of the deepest parts of humanity and the storytelling structures that are always a fantastic avenue for character exploration and introspective exploration of the, well, human condition, to say. And that is something that, yes, is absolutely wonderfully done in Silksong. I'm gonna be doing a lot more videos talking about that on my own, later, but yeah. I feel like the different structure for tools and skills and all that, and the crest system, all of that is something that supports a lot more varied gameplay than Hollow Knight. So that is something like the gameplay system's underlying structures of builds in Silksong is far more varied than Hollow Knight, which would make sense. Hollow Knight is a lot more restrictive in that sense, even though it allows for a lot of expression. I feel like Silksong does the player expression, player agency in the gameplay department quite a bit better. Yeah, and I do feel like the difficulty is actually fairly comparable. Like, Silksong is most of the time slightly more difficult, but that's not due to the damage, that is due to the tempo. But that is a lot said in, and a lot more could be said. And I will say a lot more, but that will all be later. That's my brief, brief 10 minutes, 11 minutes about, brief thoughts about Silksong. I hope that kind of elucidates my thoughts. The VODs do explain a lot more, because I do constantly talk about my feelings and thoughts and opinions, so... There is something to be said about the fact that I streamed my first playthrough, because it did have a noticeably negative effect, because it does mean I needed to divide my attention quite a bit. But that is just the pain of being a streamer. It's an unfortunate side effect, but it is good that I tested that out, and it gave me a lot more perspective for streaming as well. Also, it allowed for a lot more interesting dialogue, and like direct dialogue, which is something that I absolutely appreciate. So, yeah, that is my brief thoughts for Silksong. And let's move on to the next. Another game that I finished on my own time that I did not stream is Darklight. I don't think I even showcased this game. It is a very short, a very interesting, beautiful pilot, a free demo of sorts of the first chapter for the game. I hope that the future for this development is bright, because I really loved this world. It seemed very interesting, a lot of the characters had a lot of potential, and the interactions were just immaculate. I enjoyed it a lot, and I hope that the development continues, because it was absolutely really beautiful. I really enjoyed the art style, I really enjoyed the music, and I especially enjoyed how the characters interacted and how much of a setup there was. The world has a lot of uniqueness to it, it has a lot of flavor, character and soul behind it. It is free, it doesn't take too long, you should go and test this out on Steam. Really, go, it doesn't take too long, an hour at most, like 2 hours if you're really slow. So yeah, I don't have much to say about this though, unfortunately, but it is a very fantastic, very cute, very interesting and unique experience. An RPG maker game, kind of, but that doesn't mirror the ability for interesting character moments at all, in my opinion. Then a game that I did stream, which I will now once again be talking about, is Psychopomp. I have very interesting thoughts about the game. I have not played the Psychopomp Gold, which is the full experience, so to speak, but the free game, Psychopomp, it was already a mind-boggling exploration into absurdity in the best possible way. It was something where I struggle to perfectly explain all of the nuanced details here. It is a grid-based dungeon crawler puzzle game with very light combat elements, but mostly it's an exploration of the absurd, the grotesque, the disgusting, and the wonderful. The world of the Psychopomp, with some really interesting psychoanalytical, like, there's a lot of strange, peculiar, absurd details to the world. It is very, very psychedelic in the best possible way. It's abstract, it's so strange, and it is really intriguing. I'm very much looking forward to playing the actual full game, Psychopomp Gold, hopefully in my near future. So, yeah, it's really interesting. I spoke about it when I first streamed it, and I still enjoy it. So, yeah. Also, didn't take too long because it's a free game as well. So, yeah, it's really, really cool experience. And finally, for a game that I finished on my own time, is another short free experience called Water Womb World. I noticed this from I think it was a little YouTube video that kind of highlighted very weird experiences. I think it was even actually a YouTube short that kind of brought it to my mind, or attention rather. it is a very short experience. It is very unique in the exploration of religiosity, cult behavior, and just exploration of the absurd and the abstract and the occult. It's free once again. This really doesn't take long. It's like 30 minutes. It doesn't have all that many mechanics. It's just a very short psychedelic experience once again. But it does have a lot more occult themes to it, and it will have a lot more. The maker has a lot more games upcoming, and there's a lot more from them as well, so, you know, just highlighting what I played. It's cool, it's free. Honestly, that's basically the only thing it seemed like. Just seeing that, getting new stuff, finding new areas, getting some interactions, doing some simple quests. That's all that the game seemed to be about. And it's pretty fine. Actually kinda cute. Actually pretty enjoyable. I did really enjoy the game, so it's very cute. Very cozy. Like, really the definition of cozy, I feel. And that was really, actually surprisingly enjoyable. I didn't think I would, like, have as much fun is maybe not the best word for it, because it's not like outflowing joy and just like really, but it really had a lovely atmosphere to it, really relaxing. It had a lot of charm to it. I actually really enjoyed that game, like a lot more than I thought I would, so that's very good. Very lovely indeed. It's quite a bit like American McGee's Alice, for example, like that game, or those games rather. Just like a lot of different action platformers. Actually felt like it had a little bit of influence from Bastion, for example, except more surreal, which, you know, that's cool. That's fine. It's just lovely little details. And a lot more puzzling elements to it, which, you know, that's fine. Puzzles are absolutely fantastic for a surreal game, so yeah, I really like that. The music's pretty nice, the sound, I really like that there's voice acting for the whole game. That's always a lovely little detail that makes it pop out a lot more. The music was like the rocking soundtrack. Damn, that was really nice, really interesting, really cool. The combat is fine, it's serviceable, there's some level systems, a lot of lovely little details to enjoy. Like, this is a very decently good game. Like, it's really enjoyable. Don't know what else to say, it's just really fun. Really kinda enjoyed that a lot. I'm really looking forward to playing this game completely, but that's going to be off stream though, so that was fun. Angel's Gear, let's give a little quick of a review of sorts for it. So, first of all, really strong visual style. Visually very cool. The pixel art is really immaculate. I really adore it. It looks so like, actually, it has a really strong art style to it. Like, very strong theming to it, and a lot of, like, actually like a lot of gore, like a lot more than I was expecting it to be. Things explode into bits. That's kind of interesting. I don't mind all that much, but it is very gory. Not a bad thing, just a thing to note. It does have a, let's just say, an interesting programming quirk to it, because it is made with, actually, I think I can check that, but I think it is very obviously made with Game Maker, which, while it's absolutely a fine program to use, Pixel Game Maker MV, which is absolutely fine. It's totally good to use for these. It's just not the best for platformers. really the programmer, the maker, creator has made it work really well. It has a lot of quirks to it, let's just say, because the platforming is closer to a what you would call a cinematic platformer, like an old school, like the first Prince of Persia, where you're jumping and striking, attacking, everything is rather restricted. However, you do have a really good control for it. For example, your jumping arcs are very old school, where you are very committed to your jumps. All the attacks are controlled kinda limited, and there's a lot of restrictions in your controls. The combat is very much more cinematic than it is like from cinematic platformers, and that is not a problem for me. I enjoy that. But that is something that other people should keep in mind if they are interested in the game. I really liked it. It looked very cool. It had a lot of interesting storytelling to it. It has a lot of, like, so much personality. Like, it is very author in the sense that it feels. It has a lot of authorial intent behind it, and I really enjoyed how it had a very distinctive style to it. Doesn't mean that it is for everybody, and that is a-okay. That is even better, I would say. I would rather take a very personable, very interesting, very unique take on a game instead of something like just complete slop. So this is something that I really enjoyed. I really am looking forward to playing this completely through because it has a really cool design to it. I actually also kind of like the story behind it. It is very quick and to the point. It doesn't get too exposition heavy, even though it has a lot of lore to it, very clearly, and it has a lot of some words. There's a lot of lore, but it's fine. It's done very quickly. It doesn't get in your way. It just gives more meaning to your actions. There is, of course, venturing to the gameplay areas. Because it is done very much just by walking to the left or right or up or down. It has a... how do I say it without sounding awful? It has a lot of game style justification behind it. It has a... it kinda is silly if you try to contextualize it, but it is just something you kinda have to it could create ludonarrative dissonance if you thought about it too much, which, it's just something you need to handwave as a game. You need to kinda suspend your disbelief for that, which is fine. It's easy. I don't mind it. It's just a thing that if you stop and think about it, it is kinda silly, but it's fine. I kinda like the sound effects, but there wasn't all that much music per se, which... it's fine. This feels like it's one-person project. I don't know. Feels like it's a one-person project, but it definitely feels like something that's made with a lot of love behind it. And it's cool. It's really cool. So, yeah, it has a lot of soul behind it. I really, really like it. I don't know what else to say. It's compelling. Well, what do I have to say about the game? It is very much an interesting survival game, I feel. Unfortunately, 1 hour for that main story mode really didn't feel like it's enough. I do wonder exactly what the game could be in the free play mode, because if that's going to be something where you just accomplish missions and just do deeper dives, explore, get some levels, stuff like that, like incremental improvement gameplay and just a lot more survival gameplay and just trying to deal with the curse, that would feel like it would be very fun, very interesting, unique, have some fun little mechanics to it. It looks really cool. If the main story actually explores the story of the manga, like where you dive really deep and don't come up, well, I don't know if I haven't read the manga all that much, like very little, and I only watched the first season, so don't know about that. But if that's what the game explores, I wonder how much of the main story the game explores, because it is definitely very interesting. And the manga and anime were absolutely fantastic so far, so I would be interested in playing this a bit more. It's a very good quality game, at least. Like, it has a lot of really interesting mechanics to it, and it's not something that would probably make for an interesting streaming game, but it is definitely something I will personally be very interested in. But it feels like it is made for a very niche audience, which is actually very much just fine, very fantastic. Spike Chunsoft definitely has done a lot of niche products, so it's pretty cool. Also because it's made from by Spike Chunsoft. I'm kind of afraid that this stream's gonna get some copyright claims, but that's fine, that's what it is. The game is definitely, like, Spike is a bit anal about the copyright things for especially those cutscenes, which is a shame because their games are so uniquely fun and interesting, and I really enjoy them, but they are kind of ass about that. So this is not going to be a good game for streaming, but it's going to be fun to play. I feel like I need to play a bit more to find out about this, so I'm kind of uncertain how to ultimately feel about the game. But it did seem to have a lot of things to it, which I would enjoy a lot. So that kind of survival mechanics and like having to forage during your journey is something that would be very much up my alley, something that I would very much enjoy, so I'll have to look into it, I feel. Yeah. So, the Nameless City, based on the Lovecraft tale for the Nameless City, it's holy crap, it is very Lovecraftian. It is very much Eldritch horror in the best possible sense. The game has an immaculate sense of insanity etched into it, like carved in all of its being, or every fiber of it is. The creation is very much oozing with the visual and atmospheric and auditive design for insanity and Lovecraftian madness, and it is really, really good. However, there is a lot of things here that are something that are to be like very wary of, and that's definitely that it is very nauseating. It has a very unique style to it. The FOV is very restrictive, and it is actually kind of nauseating, which I feel like is like supporting the game a lot, but it does make it it is something that it feels kind of it supports the game a lot, but it is something that causes nausea. But it is good. I really like it, but it makes me feel ill. The visual style is so cool. It's very pixel art. The gameplay is very much just a walking simulator with some simple puzzles to it, which are fine. Some switch puzzles and some simple puzzles. Very doable, very nice, very understandable. That don't require any kind of explanation to them. And the audio design is so effective. It is very cool. It causes a lot of it is very trippy, but I like it. I really enjoyed this but it is definitely something that is, like buyer beware, it causes nausea. I don't like it a lot though. Of course, if you don't enjoy Lovecraftian storytelling, it is, well, obviously not something you should enjoy, you would enjoy, but damn, that is cool. I'm really excited to continue this. I want to see how many like different room sigils you find in the game for spellcasting and how those are all interacting and how much of that kind of puzzle crafting there is done and how far the insanity delves because it was already something very very cool but very eldritch in the best possible sense. Yeah, really liked it. So that was the recap. Thank you all very much for watching. I realized how much more editing I did this time around. There's a lot more music that I created for this video than I did previously. And this is something that I'm recording this after I have edited most of the video already. Thank you all very much for your patience and your continued support. I hope to see you all in the future. Stay awesome, Ganmu out, and have a great day.